motion to open ordinance 2022-6 to the public, please. Anyone?
You have
Come on, guys.
to make a
I
motion.
can't,
No.
I can't.
We got three options. We got Stephanie, Paul.
I'll make a
and Mr.
motion,
Paul.
man.
There we go. We'll get through this, guys. It's not that difficult.
Second?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all in favor? Thank you. Anyone out in the public would like to be heard, please?
Just on this one.
Yes.
Yes, just on ordinance.
I don't see any hands raised, may I have a motion to close and adopt ordinance 2022-6?
We have
I'll make a
three.
motion. May I have a second, please? May I have a second, please?
Two options. We have Mr. Fogg and
Don't give me
Stephanie.
a second here. Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Oh, who said?
Mr. Park.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, just so everybody on the council understands, this ordinance was to clear up confusion because we had two ordinances regarding the appropriate authority. One had the ordinance as the police director, the other had the ordinance as the mayor and council. So the prosecutor's office told us that it needed clarifying because it was confusing because we do not have a police director. So the only change that was made was that in the absence of a police director, which we presently don't have, the mayor and council is the appropriate authority. So I would encourage everybody on the council to vote yes on this, to clear up this ambiguity.
No, are we talking about 6 or 7?
Six.
Okay, 6 is yes.
Okay, Jay,
Yes?
Kim,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Pereira, recuse. Petrie,
On the advice of the borough attorney, at this time, I recuse myself.
okay. Second reading, public hearing, ordinance 2022-7, establishment of base salaries for year 2022.
Can I get a motion to open ordinance 2022-7 to the public?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, I will say no.
Oh, we're not voting yet.
Well, she,
Okay.
but she can vote no to open it to the public,
Okay,
so, but it's majority voted yes.
okay. Anyone? Yes.
My name is Yuba Huang. This is regarding ordinance 2022-7, right, correct? Okay, I understand this is a salary range that you are defining. Can I get your attention?
I'm sorry, everybody's talking.
Yeah, why, you know. this-
Enough of this,
at least you
Lorenzo,
have
can you
some
listen to me?
Opportunity,
I'm sorry.
right?
Go ahead.
So I understand this is a base salary ranges. You are not deciding salary. However, once you raise the salary range, more likely it's gonna go up, right? You know, when a company has a hardship, like what we are suffering right now, they actually freeze any salary increase. And that's the right thing to do, rather than change this, range. So once you change the range, everybody knows you will raise. And that's not really fair to the residents. We are suffering, and you know that. And I'm sure that, the inflation rate is going up, and mortgage rate is going up. And how can we survive? At least you guys have to help us, not to at least, to freeze the salary increase, please.
I would like to get more detail. When you say base salary, it will be raised the salary for all the employee, including like the administration, all salary. Do you don't think it's enough? Like it's enough salary for some kind of employee here already to get more? Like, can we get a break as a resident here and get more? Like, right now, it just seems like not enough. I think as a resident, we should get a break and all this, and it's enough. Because we got the remediation for the building department for here. We got the parking, we got so many things at the same time, and now this. Like, can we just put a little lack now for so much thing to suffer as a resident? Like, I think it's enough.
Thank you.
again, I recommend the recusal, and if there's going to be an issue, then we can list these separately at the next meeting. You know, have one group of,
Let me just double check.
There is.
John, while you double
Hello.
check, right? This,
Hey, it's towards
this
the-
annual
next to last
increase of salary range, is it a common thing for every municipality each year in the surrounding towns? Okay, is a rate going up, the range, is uncommon rate compared with other towns going up?
what do you mean, the rate that it went up?
Did it go up much more than average than
range-
compared with, yeah, the ranges? So this is a common thing that happens once a year, correct?
The towns that adopt the salaries by range, typically, every year they adjust the range, you know, 2%, whatever it is. You know, but it's usually minimal, it's not like a 10 to 20% increase in the range, unless a position went from part-time to full-time. So,
Most civilian positions.
I don't care what they are. I am not related to the. I have to use last name, no thank you.
So, yes, what I would again suggest that Councilman Vitri and Councilman Ferrera not participate, and if that becomes an issue, then next meeting list that on a separate salary ordinance, and then they could vote on all the other non-police related positions. So do you do two separate ordinances, one with all the police related positions and one with the non-police?
Do you wanna vote on this now, or?
Do a roll call, so whatever.
Yeah, well, now you need a vote, but,
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll call, please. I mean, roll call.
Motion?
Oh, can I get a motion to, adopt, ordinance 2022-7?
I just wanna be clear, attorney, that we are gonna we're gonna separate the police and separately. Is that what?
well, if it doesn't pass tonight, and you have two council people not participating,
Brought it back.
my suggestion is for the next meeting, you separate it, so that the two council people can participate in every position other than the police position. You know, that would be my recommendation. So you follow that, so that this way you have, for the bulk of the positions, everybody eligible to vote.
And there could be some changes too, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Because as council members, it was $8,000, but this one is ranged from 10,000 to 20,000. I don't wanna raise mine.
How about this? You wanna do that, let people give back, you wanna give back our salaries to the people? I can do that. Sure. If you feel like you wanna help in, I'll chip in with you, we'll give our salaries back.
Did you make this?
No, I'm just curious, if you're worried about, increasing, I don't mind it either.
If you are the one who came
No,
up with all the numbers, I'll be with you, but, who made this?
I don't like,
range?
giving back to the borough, and, I don't wanna do that. Sure, why not? If you wanna do that, I'll go with you, Stephanie.
Oh, of course, of course.
So you wanna do that too?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Somebody right there.
You don't have to go outside of our order.
Okay.
Okay, that's not in question right now,
Rather than
guys.
giving it back to the town, don't increase the salary, that's what it is.
That's it. Yeah. Good.
All right, so we'll
If
put
there
it
is
up
an
for-
option, you can change your mind.
Change it.
We'll put it up for vote. Roll call, please.
Oh, it's still the motion.
We need a motion and a second.
There's a motion.
Alright. Can I get a motion to, go forth with it? To adopt? No?
Wait a minute, so to adopt, right, we're gonna pass this?
If you make a motion to adopt, it means you're voting to approve the
So we
order.
can go for a vote, right, after we adopt. We voting?
Well, if you get a
Get
second,
the motion, get the
Yeah, just
motion.
put in a motion, second.
and then you gotta do a roll call.
According to John, it seems like this is a normal procedure and the range are negotiable, like Stephanie said, so I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Can I have a second?
Only two people.
Only two options.
We got Mr. Park and Stephanie. A second.
No second, I think?
Okay, so I would suggest we,
Break it apart? Okay.
and then we're gonna have to reintroduce it.
Introduce it as two separate ordinances?
Yes.
Okay. So one for PD.
Okay,
And anything, Gina, I know it's a little confused, because some of the positions aren't necessarily, I'm looking at it, but any position related to the police department,
that whole
or,
section all
We'll
together.
take, we'll take it out, please, everything's
Yeah.
So this one, can we get a motion and a second to
One second.
table this at least? Cause 2022-7 will then just be all positions without the police
Can we
department.
do that, Dawn, all positions other than the police department?
know why?
It's not, because it's a resignation, it's already, you're right.
So just to,
Okay.
can we table this one at least today?
No.
no, it just doesn't pass, because we're starting over.
So what,
2 months, we'll be, John, we could potentially be into next year, in the,
No, we won't,
Oh,
we'll make it, we have a meeting in October, November.
okay, and then by law, we have to do this, right?
Yeah.
So-
Can't do it for October.
October, so we have, so we would have to do the,
Introduction in October and adoption in November,
and then salary reso right after, okay, so just like make it, yep.
okay, so
Christmas break.
for 2022-7, I just leave it
So
as.
it's nothing, it doesn't.
Didn't pass.
Didn't pass?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, second reading, public hearing ordinance 2022-8.
Okay,
Here's what?
Dash
Make
eight.
a motion?
Eight is the multi-family unit.
motion to open ordinance 2022-8 to the public.
I second.
Okay, Pereira.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone out in the public? I don't see any hands raised. May I get a motion to close and adopt
I'll make
ordinance
a motion.
2022-8?
The motion to close and adopt.
I'll second.
Thank you, roll call please.
Jang?
For 8?
Yes.
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 Kim?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Pereira?
Yes.
Petrie?
Yeah.
Okay, second reading, public hearing ordinance 2022-9.
Okay, on 22-9, Councilman Petrie, I really don't know what your position is in the fire department, so for purposes of tonight at least, I would suggest you recuse, and then after the meeting, you can, do it tomorrow, give me a call, and just fill me in on what your role is in the fire department, so I can, research and determine whether you do in fact have a conflict dealing with any fire department issues.
I might as well just get up and leave.
Okay, can I get a motion to open ordinance 2022-9 to the public?
I'll make a motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, I will say no.
This is open to the public.
Yes, open to the public.
Open to the public is okay.
No, she said yes.
Yes, to open.
There's confusion all over the place tonight.
Okay, yes,
Uh,
it's regarding fire department.
Yeah, so Chief Emergency Management Officer, this is an existing position since, like, I don't know how long. But in January, I believe the mayor appointed Alex Monteleon as the chief, as the, what do you call it? Emergency Manager Coordinator, right? Is this the same position? And except, same position, but give her money? Is this? Oh. Yeah, in January 3rd, 2022.
Well, it may not be the exact position, but he may have been appointed back in January, we don't have that record in front of us, as one of the fire officials. So this job incorporates
A lot of people.
his fire inspection duties with being a fireman as well. So part of the position existed before.
So, that time, the emergency management coordinator, that position was not part of the ordinance at all, correct?
No, emergency, no, that's part of it, it should be.
No, this is not.
OEM has always existed.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah,
been separate.
don't exist.
There's an ordinance for that as well, yes.
Right, is that because of, there is no ordinance for that?
No, I don't have the ordinance book in front of me, but
OEM.
you're required to have an OEM officer, so I would have to believe there's an ordinance regarding that position.
Well, you check, I checked.
I'll check.
Yeah, but it wasn't there. So all of a sudden, it actually show up. My question is, assuming I'm right, okay? And my question is why this is a part of ordinance now? Is it because of a salary? Because before, it wasn't, there is no salary. but now this position is attached with the salary. Is that why?
No, well, no, because the position the position has been changed because there's another title added to it. So anytime you make a change to an existing position, you gotta reflect that in the ordinance. So the OEM title, this new position has the OEM and also fireman, I believe, is what is now part of the title. So it's a dual title now, by way of this ordinance.
So whoever, later on, 10 years later, maybe somebody else will take this job, they always have to doing this dual job. Am I right?
Unless the governing body changes the ordinance. Just the way they're changing it tonight, they can change it again in the future.
And reduce it.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question. Last time when we present, that from fire department, the councilman Bitre refused himself, I'm sorry. He did not. And now, why? He bought last time
He's
yes.
He's recusing himself based upon my advice to him because I need to determine whether a conflict exists. I don't know as I'm sitting here if there's a conflict. So to be cautious and conservative, it's my suggestion that he recuse himself until I get more information.
No.
Her question is
But
that
last time he
didn't
bought.
refuse.
I understand.
Yeah, but why you do it when it's convenient? Last time you need the vote and you let him do it without
Why
being
can't-
right for him to do it.
Just so you understand what a conflict,
Yeah,
I
why-
can only advise them. It's still up
I
to the council
understand.
person as to whether they participate.
But as a resident, I asked the councilman Bitre why he votes when it's convenient, when he needs to vote to
No.
pass something.
I would recommend that Councilman Vitri not answer the question because.
Yeah, because we have the right to know when he's refused and
Well,
when
that's
he's
what
not
he's-
refused.
But that's what we're doing tonight. I advised him, and I believe he's taking my advice to recuse himself, and that's why he's doing it. Because
And-
he's taking my advice that he may, I'm not saying he does, he may have a conflict.
And another thing, why we keep creating this position, if the person who's getting this position resigned from a job that it was paying more than what he's gonna get now, why we offer another job to the person, this refuse or resign of job in here? Why we have to get another job and create this job? Because it seems like this job has been creating a specific for that person. And now, why we has to create another job for that person who just resigned? So I'm kind of a little confused in that. Why you offer a job to a person who resigned from a previous job? So the town is gonna pay to a person that already have a job. We create that job, that it wasn't even posted, that it
Okay,
wasn't.
just so you know, this part of the hearing is only on the ordinance.
I
So the
understand, but
question
this is
why are they
related with
creating-
that.
Why are they creating the job?
Yes, why? Why we create this job for a person
Yeah, well, that's
who
why,
was.
we can't get into the individual who received the job, because he did not receive a right notice. You can comment on it.
No, but I mean-
the question is, why is the position being created?
Yes, we wanna know
I believe
why.
the answer is because the governing body felt there was a need to have this combined position.
Even though the fire department don't
Volunteer-
get paid?
Volunteer fire departments
They don't get
throughout,
paid.
volunteer fire departments throughout Bergen County are having a lot of difficulty with respect to having enough men to respond to a call during the day and some even at night. In fact, many towns are now considering going to pay fire department, which is very expensive.
But it happened to
So
be
I
that we
believe- create
create this position when,
You
just
gotta let
after
me
he
finish, Ann.
resigned.
You
But
gotta
it
let me
happened to
finish.
see
You gotta let
that
me
we
finish.
create the position for that individual person after he resigned. And we had to pay it as a resident.
Let's move forward, please.
Yeah, let's move forward. That's the correct answer. After he resigned, we create that. Not fair.
So can I get a motion to close and adopt ordinance 2022-9?
Just
I'll make a
create.
motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Jane?
No?
Kim?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Pereira?
Yes.
Petrie?
On the advice of the borough attorney, at this time, I'm recusing myself as a volunteer.
Thank you, Michael. Second reading, public hearing, ordinance
I don't see the
2022-10, amendment of chapter 76 entitled advertising materials.
I'm gonna motion to open ordinance 2022-10.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody out in the public would like to be heard, please? I don't see any hands raised. May I get a motion to close and adopt ordinance 2022-10, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chang?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Park? Para?
Yes.
Petrie?
Yes.
Council report.
Okay. Councilwoman Jang, would you like to start us off, please?
Yeah, there's no report at this time.
Thank you.
No report at this time.
Yes, thank you, got some good news. Central Boulevard is repaving, I don't know if you guys heard about it, it's been over 20 years. It's very significant because it is our main road, our main vein to go in and out of Palisades Park. So if the residents and the visitors do grade us on our quality of service, this road is a place where they would grade us, and I'm very happy. After 20 years, we're getting Central Boulevard repaved. And it's not out of our taxes, we already paid it to the county, and thanks to the county of Bergen and the VA. The VA, that, we finally gonna get this happen. So, Mr. Borough Administrator, Dave, thank you. We listened to the residents we do listen to our residents' comments, so we did some renovations in Columbus Park. And for more desirable amenities such as full court basketball court, walking path with ambient light, benches and additional entrance access for Grand Avenue, so we get more convenient for our residents. Third, the Senior Activity Center for Bergen County is having an end of summer COVID booster shot event. at the
Excuse me,
Township
he's talking there.
Senior apartment located at 3 Highland Avenue. So again, it's a booster shot. For people who didn't get any, booster shots, please come to 300 Highland Avenue. It's in the front left ramp, and just from 9 AM to 3 PM. The date is gonna be on the 20th, it's this Thursday. And we'll be providing free breakfast, coffee, free pizza for lunch, free senior physical therapy, balance and osteoporosis education, a professional DJ playing your classic hits, and free raffle tickets for 120 prizes for the lucky participants drawn every half hour. The only condition is that you have to be 60 years old and over, is for seniors, and please bring your COVID shot record and insurance info. Thank you very much.
Councilman Ritchie?
Counselor, I have to ask, can I give a report on the fire department, for the volunteer fire department, or
No, we didn't start.
what do I do? Accuse myself on that too?
We didn't start.
It's reported, report.
Yeah, I think you could give a report.
Please.
Yes?
Yes.
No report.
Very funny.
Yeah, like it says, more remediation is not part of actually TPW's work, but I'm concerned on that. That's what my concern is. That's it.
Okay, Mayor, we have to go back to, just to make sure so we got to the resolution to get quotes on the mold remediation.
Right.
Did we do a resolution to get, quotes on asbestos removal? So we need to.
Oh, yeah.
I know we added it.
Okay, and did we do a resolution to authorize the architect to prepare estimates for the municipal building? I don't think we did
No.
that.
So we'll do a resolution authorizing the architect, our architect to prepare plans and specs for what now? We doing just remediation?
So is that for 20?
Well, I think did you want specs prepared or estimates prepared? Because there's two different things, specifications.
And then you wanted price for a new building, price for a rebuild, right?
Right, but I think you wanted estimates, correct? Or did you want
Estimate,
specifications?
estimate
I don't think they
based
want
upon,
specs.
based upon the specification, certain type
Hold on.
of specification.
Specifications are.
No, not the detailed specification.
It's just the scope of the work.
Certain type of, yes.
Scope of the work.
So in other words, for a rebuild, for a new
Okay, so we're
building,
gonna do a cost estimate
Yes.
correct.
for renovation, rebuild, a new facility.
You know, so complying with
Okay.
the laws that we're,
Of course, that goes without saying. So, and then we're also going to do, we're gonna send it out to bid, whoever's gonna bid on it, for remediation for this, based on the package that we had got, right? Okay. So I can-
For asbestos.
Okay,
Although
And
asbestos, there may be a
and-
state, and there may be a
and-
state contract for that.
Well,
There may be a state
yeah.
contract for the.
Yeah.
So would that be
Nobody wants that?
Right, that would be, you know what, we didn't vote on the authorization of BA to get quotes and specs for asbestos, so we should get a motion.
Yeah,
Say-
we discussed it,
Say,
but we
say,
didn't vote on it.
We don't-
make that estimate and, scope of work, because specifications mean something else, that's detailed drawing.
Right.
Totally different.
That's totally different.
Where's the- oh, we added
No, we
250.
added 250,
Yeah.
you know, we need to get a motion. Okay, so 250 will be authorization of the DA to get quotes and estimates for asbestos removal.
Correct,
That's 250.
Yes.
okay.
We will take a vote on-
251 is.
Yeah,
We'll take a
250.
vote on that first.
So that's what I'm not, all right, I'll make that motion.
Okay?
Anyone second?
this is a total estimate of our costs to
Asbestos.
remedy the asbestos and also comply with the laws that we have to comply
We
with.
have,
Right, so now
that's,
there'll be a separate authorization, which will be 251, to get the borough architect to prepare
all right, but
cost
we didn't vote on
estimates.
250 yet.
Okay,
We're
sorry.
discussing 251.
So I made a motion, Paul, did you second?
Second?
Either can give you
Mr.
some.
Park did. Okay.
Okay, I'll take a roll call. Jane?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes,
Hart?
Yes.
Pereira?
Yes.
Petrie?
Yes.
Okay. So 250 passes, we'll move on to, yes. And what was 250? Authorization,
Authorization, the borough,
architect.
borough administrator to get the borough architect to prepare cost estimates for remediation costs, renovation costs, and rebuilding costs in new facilities.
So can I get a motion for that?
Two options, Dave, on the rebuild, on the,
Yeah, I
on the
got
building,
four
right?
altogether, right? So
You're gonna
there's
do a new building is
remediation,
current,
renovation here,
right,
right? Rebuilding here,
here,
and
and
then
then
a new-
another location.
new location.
So it's actually
We need all
four-
those estimates.
For
Don't we also need a recommendation from the remediation, mold remediation?
So just to, right before that, 251, we just authorized to send that out to get people to bid on it.
Right.
Yeah.
To rebuild, we need to have a feasibility study.
Well, I don't know what we're doing a feasibility study on.
It means how many stories we build and how many parking spots we build.
So do you wanna authorize somebody to do a feasibility study?
Yes, that's what it is, yeah. We need that first.
I don't even know what that would be.
No, I think the architect, I don't know if they would call it
Or
feasibility study.
they can make a multiple, selection from.
Right, what he's going to do, I think our
So
borough
the
administrator will
architect
probably
will
tell him,
do a
right,
needs assessment.
right.
The architect will do a needs assessment.
Needs assessment.
Feasibility study is something totally
Right.
different.
No, you need needs.
Right.
Yes.
Need assessment.
Okay, make a motion.
Yeah, 251, that'll be the work scope, authorizing the work scope.
Yep,
Cindy made a motion.
I'll second.
Jane?
Yes.
Kim?
Hold on, so we have to pay him and we don't have any money allocated to that. Alright, so now, hold on a second. So now, we have a bond on the table, right, and we never executed yet. So the question would be, are we going to go forward with that bond? That
So
we
bond
did
is
several
in
months ago.
account?
Did that bond have,
So the bond
did
was.
the bond have the information? Because I remember, I thought that
What
our
was
bond
the-
counsel said that we needed specificity in the bond ordinance to encompass whatever we wanted to do with the municipal building.
So the borough CFO and the, bond council all were in agreement that in order for us to move out of the building into a temporary facility, we had to have a plan whether we were going to remediate, rebuild, or renovate this building. Once we establish that, which we haven't done yet, then that bond can be tapped, if you will, or used for the costs associated with the move out. Okay, so right now, we're authorizing the borough architect to prepare some type of needs assessment, which is gonna cost us some money. We have no place to pay it for. That bond that we initially started to put in place was for the remediation. This is obviously a cost of that remediation. So there's no issue there with that. It's the relocation to a temporary facility that was in a gray area as to, we didn't have an end game plan as to we stay here or move out. Once we established that, then we could have used the bond for that. We can use the bond for that. So right now, we would have to then probably do a special meeting to get that bond up and running, because otherwise we can authorize this guy to do it, but we can't authorize something if we don't have the money to do it.
No,
Right,
we
so,
cannot, we can't enter, we can't
so,
authorize without.
so we have no place to pay for it. So we're back to square one.
Well,
You guys really gotta decide what you wanna do.
But you say the bond, if we implement that and calculate it with the process of moving out, we could use that bond money to pay off the estimates for the
So
engineers.
the bond could be, if the bond is authorized, it can be used for preparing the needs assessment and the cost
Got
estimate.
it. Okay, so it makes sense.
But-
Is that true?
but
Yes, I,
You can't
yes.
get that bond without a decision.
That's right.
So that's,
Catch 22.
it's a cart before the horse, no
Right.
matter how you
So,
cut it.
so I think what you guys, and I don't really care what you do, just leave it the way it is, don't do nothing, tear it down. You need to make a decision, and I think a common sense decision, like I said in all the emails, is pretty simple. You have to fix the building. Regardless what you're going to do, there are certain things in here that have to be fixed. You need a roof, you need upgrades, okay. So I think if everybody's in agreement on that, and if you can't, just look around yourself, if you'd be blind if you couldn't figure that out, you need to fix the building. So you might as well put the bond in place and authorize the architect to give you some type of estimates to do that. Because otherwise, we're gonna be going around this, and it's gonna be a year, and something's.
I have a question. So we vote to put that bond in place, when they vote on a renovation,
You
so
can
to
change.
speak.
Right now-
That's my question.
You can amend it.
What if we change our
You can amend-
mind,
Yeah.
and then
And
you
you're
can
still within
amend
the
it
law.
to a replacement?
From my
That's the way
understanding,
it
So
from
we
the,
can vote on a renovation.
or rebuild or whatever, and you still, because you're gonna have to change the bond anyway.
But I'm saying, to get the bond, we have to do
You have to
something.
do something,
So if you at least do the minimal, and you
Right.
say we're gonna do a renovation.
right.
And then we find out after we get all the cost estimates
not
and
worth it.
everything, that's really not the way to
Amend the
go.
bond, it's a bond amendment at that point,
And that doesn't affect
No.
that we voted to
And
get
you're
that
still
bond in
within
the
the law?
first place.
and you can still use that money
Interesting.
allocated for the bond, yes, correct.
Bond amendment.
So where we are right now is we have to authorize, you guys want pricing, we have some pricing here, you want pricing, and what actually,
That's, we
You
need
have
more
to pay the
detailed cost
architect,
estimate,
right?
yeah, I agree.
and we don't have the money to pay right now, allocated anyway. So we're back to square one,
Well, not really.
Could pass the bond. So we have to talk to bond.
As a
council.
renovation, a remediation
We have to
renovation.
talk to bond
I
council.
think you have to
and
start with
CFO.
that, because if we don't get the bond, we can't.
We can't do
You
anything.
could always
We need
go
to
up.
get the cost estimates, we need cost estimates.
So hold on, so we did pass the bond for the remediation, they didn't want to use it for, it was for the mold. Hold on a second, I think we're good. We did pass the bond several months ago for the mold.
Oh, the issue was with the relocation.
Right, so as long as we don't use it for relocation expenses, I think we're good. So let's go ahead and use the bond, so then we should be able to.
Just get the bond council in order to sign off
Okay,
on it.
so could we,
So we'll approve it subject to.
subject to the availability of the bond?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do
By
that.
the bond council.
By
Okay,
bond council.
perfect.
CFO.
I think that's good, because we did it right, then we're in a good place.
So you need a motion and second.
Yeah.
Okay, make that motion. Mr. Parks.
Second, we're gonna second.
Cindy, Mr. Park seconded. Jane?
Yes, but, we must get the remediation company's, guidelines first.
That was done already, that was 250.
Kim?
So we're all okay.
Yes.
Park? Farrell?
Yes.
Petrie?
Yes.
Okay.
That everything?
Yeah.
Okay, Captain Espino, do you have anything to report?
Just one thing, man.
Yes, please.
Many of you know, through the town, public intoxication is a big problem in this town. It's been a problem for years. Okay, so, when I became in charge back in May, I had a meeting with my ABC officers, Sergeant John Espavish and Frank DeSico. With our meeting, we decided we should speak to the businesses in town, the liquor establishments, and try to explain to them what the laws are as far as how we serve, who to serve and who not to serve to. Again, the reason why I looked into this was, I looked over the year of how many intoxicated cars that we sent to the hospital on a monthly basis. January we had 73, February was 43, March was 45, April was 53, and May was 69. And again, I came into May and I saw these numbers and I sat down with Sergeant Sparridge. At that time, we did some enforcement and I talked to patrols on the avenue. If you see these intoxicated parties, many were walking around with open containers and nothing was being done about it. So I told them, we're gonna start issuing summons for open containers and start taking these containers from them. Okay, so from doing that in June, it dropped down to 48 from 69. Then we had the meeting the first week of July where Sergeant Sparridge spoke to all the establishments explaining the rules and the laws of serving alcohol with the business establishment. Okay. The end of July, we went down to 27 from 48. And then August, we went to 26. So we stayed about the same. And this month, September, up till Friday, because that's when I did up to, we're at 17. So the numbers are coming down. And I feel having that meeting with them was nothing where it was a threatening meeting. We want to sit down and build a partnership with them. We want to work with them and say, listen, we want to keep the town clean, we want to eliminate public intoxication. Okay, and it worked well for their business because the last thing you do, you don't want your own business and having intoxicated parties laying down in front of your business. It's going to deter business, it's not a good look for the town. Okay, it's been an issue, like I said, for a long time. And when I had the opportunity to look into it and try to clean up as best as I felt was necessary, again, along with the assistance of Sergeant Sparridge and Detective Frank DeSico, who's not here right now, I think it's working as you see the numbers are coming down.
Yeah, I've noticed it, and I've noticed less Guatemalans on the street, and I want to thank you for that.
And so I just wanted to let you know that, Mayor, I felt that was an issue that bothered me for a long time, and that was an issue that I took, and I think it's really, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
This time, can I please get a motion to open to the public participation?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone in the public would like to be heard?
This is a question. You have a like resolution 2022-250. What is it? I mean, I couldn't hear it.
What was it again?
250? Yeah. Yeah, and I don't understand, but just hearing, I don't understand what's in it. Also, after I hearing 251, sounds like last month you passed a resolution to authorize the leasing agreements to 21 Grand Avenue, 460 Bergen Boulevard, right? What happened to that? Doesn't look like you are moving out, right?
I'll answer that question.
Yeah, so that's kind of, odd. I mean, what we know is that you passed that, to authorize the leasing agreement, then all of a sudden, you're talking about something else, and, we are not being communicated at all, right? All the public are like, what is going on, right? So please, help us to kind of, let the public know.
I have a question. I heard that the Councilman, Andy Ming is okay, but I would like to know how many absent as a big councilman can you have? Because I haven't noticed that he's haven't been here, and it's very important that he's here for us to count on him and voting. So I haven't noticed that he's not here. I hope he's okay. And I would like to know how many absent you allowed to have as a being council. And I have another question for Councilman Porkin. I see that you reject or that you didn't want to pass the resolution 38. And I would like to know why you come with that now. And I would like you being so defended in other resolution for the public as you was with that one. And I remember back in the primary, and I'm not talking about campaign here, but I remember that you was campaign in the corner there, Kudo Society is. I exactly know what it is. The major show was on the top and you was in the bottom campaign there, and at that time it was no problem. But now we think it's a big problem for you to do it and reject that. There had to be something with the campaign coming, I don't know, I would like to know, and you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, please.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Chen.
Okay, Youngmin Jung, 50 East Policy Board, and then, like, the work session, I mentioned that, I'm a president of the Policy Park Chamber of Commerce. Actually 17th president, and my term is a 2-year, and I said, I am the alone officers alone. We do not have, a manpower and a fund. I said that. But one thing, as I became a 17th president, because nobody wanted it, and then we wanted to keep this, Policy Park Chamber of Commerce for the revitalization of the broader, small business owners to help, them. So only just what I do as my duty is just open, 2 times a year, like spring and fall street festival and sidewalk sales. Usually some of the residents complain about this is not a street, festival, this is sidewalk sales, and nothing just really new. Small business owner just sell their own leftovers and those kind of thing, and I hear a lot of complaints. But I'm unfortunately council member Paul Kim, when he was a Board of Education member, he was a vice president when I was a president, and he knew that we just had a block party to block, and then at that time, for the first time, I believe just more than 14 years, the first block party, and we just make a detour of the public, traffic, and I built it up $2,000 stage, and more than 300 people enjoyed the 3-hour performances at there. Anyway, but what happened last, primary elections, I asked 2 candidates of the Democrat mayor's candidate, and do you want to just register to Policy Park Chamber of Commerce and have a canopy there and to meet your voters to just hand out your campaign material? And Mayor Christopher Jones said yes, and he's registered to us. But I talked to Councilman Paul Kim, and he said talk to my campaign manager. That was Paul Kim. He's filming right now there, Paul Lee. And then he said we have freedom to have a canopy on a public area whenever we want to, and they refused to register. And then there was one accident happened because the gust of the wind, make a fly of the canopy, and his car, there was not a parking spot. I believe, technically say, illegal parking.
Yes.
But dented a little bit, and he asked me to compensate that thing. So I said, talk to the owner of that tent, and then he asked me about insurance or all kind of thing, and he said, I never ever had insurance, but that's a requirement. No, we didn't do that. When I was president, 2017 and 18, I had experience about 4 street festival. Oh no, I said probably you have to talk to the owner of the business owner, and that was illegally parked, and then accident happened. But probably I don't know Councilmember Kim asked me. That's a responsibility of not my personal responsibility, but responsibility of the Policy Park Chamber of Commerce. And recently, I was just considering very much about resign my position, because I already told you no manpower, no fund, and only thing is opening, just get a permit, open a sidewalk sale. That's it. So I don't know if that happened, then I'm really very sorry, but after this one, I need to talk to the mayor about this. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So I have a legal question to a lawyer that, what if one of the council has to be recused but wasn't, and then the resolution passed, then still it's going to be effective next month, or is there any possibility that it can reverse, go back to table again? That's my first question, and then the second one is Councilman Paul Kim, and about the pavement in Central Boulevard. So I don't know what it's going to be, but is it this year?
I understand.
Go ahead, you can.
Oh.
We'll wait. We'll answer that after.
Okay. But is the material is like permeable, or I don't know if it's just, I just wanna see more detail about it, and because it was blood issue last year. And then if that happens, I know it's a county jack, it's a county road, could you please be, responsible for like, giving all the residents all the blood on prior notice before the pavements? We actually never received it before, and then so I always talk to, Palisade Park and Ottawa County, or county state, it's Palisade Park responsibility, although it's a county road. So I would like to ask you to be, take care of it this time. And, also just following to my prior, what?
You have just 3 minutes.
Okay, it's passed? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Right, I got a motion to close the, public participation.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay,
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll answer the questions I can. First, with the respect to the resolution, the prior meeting, when the leases were approved, there were 2 conditions in it. One was that they were going to be revised with certain changes, and second, that there would be a certificate of availability of funds, just as tonight you heard the discussion. So the funds were not available, and the conditions that were imposed with respect to the changes requested all weren't made. So as of now, that resolution, although adopted, is not valid because the conditions weren't met and the funds weren't available. In terms of the resolutions that were passed tonight, I know you asked specifically about the one, but one resolution, there's asbestos in the building, and the borough's been cited that it has to be addressed. So one resolution is authorizing the borough administrator to have a company come in, assess the extent of the asbestos, and give a price as to what it's gonna cost to abate the violation. The other resolution authorized the borough administrator to get quotes on the remediation of the mold, which also must be remedied. And the third resolution, unless it was combined with the other ones I forget, was to authorize the architect to prepare a needs assessment and cost estimates to renovate the existing building to prevent the mold from recurring. Secondly, to rebuild on this site, or third, to rebuild on another site. So those were the resolutions that were passed. These have been discussed at multiple meetings. So it's not the first time these issues have been brought up. In terms to when there's a conflict, if someone challenges a vote based upon a conflict, means a member of the community files a legal challenge, a judge would determine whether there is a conflict, and a judge would determine whether or not the vote is still valid. If the vote is not valid, then the council would have to revote.
So where
I'm sorry, there's no back and forth.
So, and the last 2 items, John, was 237, the woman from 237. Our understanding is that the county is in the process of preparing the start of the work, and the initial start date was the end of September or first week of October. Being that we're at the end of September, we haven't gotten notification as of this time, so we're hoping any day we'll get the notification, and the people, the individual homes will be notified. And then that was it.
My question wasn't answered.
Ms. Neris had a question for Paul Kim with regard, something about,
No, I remember that, I could ask that.
And, I wanna know how many absent can a councilman could have into to be absent?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'd like to
Yes,
answer that question.
thank you.
So, there's no state statute that provides how many meetings a council member has to stay, so, has to attend. So basically, there are no rules, there are no regulations. If they choose to not to attend, more than likely, they would probably have a difficult time getting reelected. But that's, the only time you get to remove an official is either at the election or through a recall process. That's the only way a member of a governing body can be removed, unless a court of law removes them if they commit a crime.
So they don't not mandatory to come
No.
and attend? Oh, I see, I will find out that, I will search in that. And Paul Kim, please?
Yes, you know what, I'm gonna request that John represents the legal aspect of it, why I am very careful and asking these questions concerning the event that he wants to propose without insurance.
She's asking why you're asking.
She's asking me that, I already explained this, but in a legal sense, just to say that she talked about politics, which I think you should be, this is totally out of it.
It's
So
what?
just-
I'm sorry.
It's totally out of venue when you say it's because of politics.
Oh,
It's
yeah, yeah,
not.
yeah.
So,
You know what, I don't want your
maybe-
answer.
okay, here
Thank
we go.
you,
go ahead.
thank you, because you know you're lying right now.
Alright, so can I speak?
Please, I don't
So
want your
all I
answer.
wanted was for John to think about the legal aspects, why I am concerned.
Well, again,
You didn't do it when
I
it
think
was
we,
campaign last time.
I think we covered, this earlier, when an outside organization wants to utilize a public facility, it's really the obligation of the governing body to make sure that the borough is protected. And the primary way the borough is protected is, one, to make sure they have insurance for the event, two, to make sure the borough is held harmless. I guess three.
Well, he
I think
wasn't
we're going
even
on-
registered.
I'm sorry,
He
you
wasn't
gotta
even
let me
registered.
finish.
Well, he wasn't even registered when he did that. No, he wasn't even registered when he did that. What he talking now, right now, is not making sense. He wasn't registered when he put the campaign uptown in there. I was there one, and you was there too. So that was, now is campaign that he wanna do. Because he wasn't registered, he just put his
I
time
got a
there.
motion to close the public.
Come
I'll
on,
make a
stop with
motion.
that.
Adjourn to the evening.
Making like a decorating. We go to the truth.